Right, so I'd like to welcome you all to the 2020 Connect Nigeria Business Fair. And in the next few minutes, I'd like to share with you a few tips on how to find opportunities for business survival in and out of crisis periods. So thank you for having me on the program. And I hope the next few minutes is useful for our listeners. As the COVID-19 pandemic triggers a wave of economic paralysis around the globe, and companies increasingly lay off staff in spite of the advice we have just heard from Mr. Onwuegbuzie, fear and anxiety grip families and spouses lose their jobs. Nevertheless, contrary to the largely pessimistic outlook of most economic pundits, I see this as a time of opportunity, especially for Nigerian and African entrepreneurs. This is because as global supply chains are interrupted and people are finding it difficult to have the inputs they need, and the local currency exchange rate rises, making imported goods more expensive, companies are forced to turn to local, more affordable alternatives. And there lies opportunity for local entrepreneurs who can provide local alternatives to substitute expensive imports. Local manufacturers can therefore supply large organizations and can also replace imported goods on the shelves of our supermarkets. This in turn will trigger a value chain of jobs and income for Nigerians. For instance, did you know that wheat flour, which is currently very expensive now and threatening to raise the price of baked goods, is not the only type of flour that can be used for baking? Other types of flour that can be used for baking include cassava flour, coconut flour, plantain flour, tiger nut flour. These can be used for making delicious, healthy cakes, biscuits, and bread. And guess what? They're even healthier than wheat flour because they contain more fiber, they're gluten-free, and contain vitamins. Flour has gluten, no fiber, and no vitamins. So all you need to do is simply experiment a bit with the current recipe we use for wheat flour to come up with what works with the various types of flours I've just mentioned to get and then you have your lovely biscuits, cakes, bread, or whatever pastry you need it for. So consequently, the advantage to the apparent problem of high exchange rates is that we as Nigerians will be compelled to change the economically disastrous habits we have formed of importing things we can produce ourselves, like toothpicks, hand wash or dishwashing liquid, which any Tom, Dick, and Harry can actually make, toilet paper, pencils, sanitizers, shampoos, conditioners, razors, ketchup. Did you know that ketchup was just a question of adding tomato paste with salt and sugar and water and a few spices? Which of those are not available in Nigeria? They're all available in Nigeria. Okay, so yogurt in Kenya, there is no single imported brand of yogurt. But in Nigeria, imported brands dominate the local brands. And I think that this pandemic is going to change all of this, making young people begin to think about what they can do. Our local shea butter and palm kernel oil, for example, can make even better hair treatments and conditioners than the imported hair treatments and conditioners we ladies buy in the shops. Just a few days ago, a young lady brought me a sample of the hand wash she had made. And I used it and it was really good. And I could just see her making a lot of money in future if she has the right packaging. A few weeks ago, I also saw on Twitter and on television that we're already manufacturing hospital-grade face masks, producing disinfecting chambers, and foot pedal controlled hand washing stations that include soap dispensers, water taps, and then sanitizer dispensers, along with hand dryers. In the past, we would have relied solely on imports for these, but now we're producing them. And so the message of impact-driven entrepreneurship could not have come at a better time. Impact-driven entrepreneurship refers to starting a business with the aim of solving a problem in a way that yields financial returns. Just like impact investing, impact-driven entrepreneurship refers to making money from impacting lives. Only those businesses that are relevant to people's needs or solving people's problems will enjoy good patronage now, because many people have lost their jobs and most existing businesses, just like Mr. Wolabi mentioned earlier, are struggling to survive. So spending power is low and people are mostly only buying what they need or what can solve their problems. The latest problem I heard about is the drought in southern Nigeria, which has left several thousand acres of maize, yam, and other crops, dried up because because of the lack of rain. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is a huge opportunity for smart entrepreneurs to get together and provide an irrigation system that solves this problem. They will definitely enjoy good patronage if it works, and they will become rich. And this already exists. In 2016, I went to Israel, and one of the most surprising findings for me was that Israel was not just desert land. Israel was stony ground. I thought the worst kind of land you can find is desert ground that is usually sterile, nothing grows there. But then I found that there's something worse than desert ground, stony ground. But guess what? Israel is 100% food sufficient. And they even export food to other countries. They don't import any food. So what this means is that irrigation solutions exist, and we can either make ours or copy and adapt to our context. We must begin to think. Every problem represents a profitable business opportunity. And this is just one of the many opportunities to transform lives while making money that we have in this country. If we think Nigeria has many problems, we should flip that thought and think Nigeria has many opportunities, because for every problem you solve, there's money waiting for you through patronage. Think of the number of jobs that will be provided when we create such solutions, and how much money will be made by both the producers of the irrigation solution, for example, the farmers who are now guaranteed of a good harvest, not to talk of food availability at more affordable prices for the rest of us. Nigeria is one of the countries with the most expensive cost of food. For example, cornflakes we buy here for thousands, Kellogg's, is $1 or £1 in the UK or the US. Food is very cheap in South Africa and in other countries around us. So we need to work on how we can improve availability. As I said before, a problem implies that people are consciously or subconsciously seeking a solution. And so if you are the entrepreneur who is smart enough to identify pain points and provide solutions, you will make money from making a difference. You would have noticed that while many businesses are struggling, many are actually thriving today. In fact, some have made more money than they have made before the pandemic and before the lockdowns. Now, I tell people, all the businesses that are thriving today have one thing in common. Similarly, the ones that are not thriving also have one thing in common. And you can guess what all the businesses thriving today have in common. It's very simple. They are solving relevant problems. Okay. During the rainy season, we all buy umbrellas. When it's a dry season, if the person selling umbrellas doesn't sell something for the sun, maybe sunglasses, it's going to go hungry. So the businesses that are not thriving are like people who are selling umbrellas during the dry, hot season, instead of selling sunglasses, or maybe selling, maybe the kind of umbrellas that are more suited for sunlight. Okay, so it's time for us to realize that we need to be problem-driven or solution-oriented. So for instance, those providing logistics services are all experiencing a surge in demand because online purchases have become a safer and preferred option for consumers. Similarly, those in the healthcare industry are also thriving as everyone is piling up immune-boosting supplements, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, buying sanitizers, gloves, anything to protect them from getting infected. So for us to thrive, for businesses to thrive at any point in time, you have to ask yourself, what problem can I solve? So while the pandemic has definitely had its negative impacts, it has also thrown up so many opportunities. Today, I see many people engaging open market shoppers, as many women who need local foodstuff from open markets like Mile 12 or Idumota or Balogu are too scared to go into these markets, which leave no possibility for social distancing. They therefore prefer to pay someone who can supply their needs. Many people who have lost their jobs are also now providing this service. Well, some people who have lost their jobs are providing this service. I also know of a family where the mother makes fantastic Nigerian soups, ogbono, okra, and all of that, who advertise on Instagram. The daughters also advertise moi moi and akara, which are delicacies that we all enjoy, but very few people know how to do well. Guess what? They made lots of money during the lockdown. All they had to do was collect their orders on Instagram and send the deliver the products to the customers who ordered through delivery companies. So while others are engaging in a pity party and lamenting their fortunes, let's not join this pity party and actually flip the situation around and say, what product or service can I offer now? So even in the area of hygiene, there are more business opportunities now. So there's an increased demand for fumigation services in both homes and offices. Some offices like banking halls have to be fumigated daily because of the level of foot traffic. Okay, so I don't think fumigation is something you need to get a degree in before you can engage in it. Simply go online, think about it, dress appropriately, get your fumigating can, and you're ready to offer that service to any home. Again, many people are working from home. We at Lagos Business School are still teaching via online. So many homes probably need home offices right now. So that's an opportunity for interior decorators to see how they can help people who also not only need to work from home, but also need to supervise their children. Maybe have a study room that has a glass partition so you can monitor children while they're doing their online schooling, while you have your board meetings or office meetings in the separate compartment without the noise coming from the children. So we're seeing modifications also with online events. Nigerians continue to have celebrations. They haven't stopped having birthday parties or wedding ceremonies or graduation ceremonies because of the pandemic. But then the ones who are taking advantage of that are the event planners who have become online event planners who can schedule the Zoom parties, invite the people, organize food deliveries, or drive-through parties for celebrants. So it's really about either tweaking your business model or transitioning to what is relevant right now. I have a friend who's a travel agent, and as you know, travel agents are one of the worst hits during this period. Well, she remembered that she was a fitness freak who used to be a bit big and has now become quite slim. So she just went online, did a fitness training course for 1 week, got certified, posted her picture while she was still big, and now that she's slim, and boom, she started getting customers. And the beautiful thing about the business is that you don't need to go through the routine with each client. You simply record the routine, and as people pay, you share the same video. Easy. So again, I'm focusing on helping us realize that it's a question of the mindset and orientation of problem solving to be able to see these opportunities. So again, I've seen teachers on Twitter crying and lamenting that they're going hungry, no money to feed themselves or their children, and people have contributed. And I thought to myself, if only in school people learned to see opportunities in problems. Now, many parents are having to engage either a lesson teacher who is tested, of course, to be sure that they're safe, and of course they put all the protocols in place, wear a face mask or a face shield, to come in and teach their children. And then even in lower income neighborhoods where they can't afford the data to be online, people can gather children according to their class groups, okay, and they can pay a daily school fees to come and continue learning under a tree or in a compound or a hall or a compartment, and whoever the smart teacher is can make money. So the various levels of problems during this pandemic have actually created opportunities. The last time I heard from a friend who had to check into the isolation center with her family, she said each patient now needs to provide their own sheets and toiletries, like sponge, soap, towels, toothbrush, toothpaste, toilet paper, etc., bottled water. And I immediately saw an opportunity there. I just imagined an entrepreneur that would approach the hospital and say, look, I can facilitate things for patients who are coming in and who are too weak to assemble all the things they need. Here's a list of possible needs. even nightgowns or pajamas, water, bed sheets, pillowcases, whatever. And here are the prices. If a patient needs this assistance, let them tick what they want, choose the price range they can afford, total it, pay, and we will deliver all their needs to them. And I'm sure there will be many patients who will be grateful for this service. So the smart entrepreneur who provides this price list for all these items can get paid easily and will find that he's making money from providing a much needed service. Again, I look at the Third Mainland Bridge that has just been closed recently and has triggered heavy traffic on alternative routes. This has generated a huge opportunity to develop our water transportation for people and cars to reduce commute time. Also, to see whether we can even use the vacant buildings on the island as shortlets for people who would prefer to stay on the island from Monday to Friday and then go back to the mainland during the weekend, rather than have to go through the terrible traffic on a daily basis twice a day. In summary, the survival of any business today is hinged on relevance, and so many opportunities have been thrown up. I like to repeat this quote by Jack Ma, who is the richest entrepreneur in China and the founder of Alibaba. He says, if you want to remain small, solve small problems. But if you want to be big, solve big problems. And what that tells you is that if you look for a problem that's affecting many people and you can come up with a solution at an appropriate price, you will have many customers. So finally, I would like to remind everyone that you do not need a lot of money to start a business, because that's the number one deterrent for most people. They're thinking, which bank will lend me money? Which rich uncle could give me a lot of money? You don't need that. In fact, if you have a lot of money when you start a business, you stand the risk of losing a lot of money, because if you're just starting, it means that you're at the beginning of the learning curve, which means you'll make a lot of mistakes, and they're likely to be expensive because you've had enough money to buy things in bulk. But if you start small while thinking big, what this means is that your mistakes are inexpensive enough for you to learn from and move on. So start with what you have. You don't need to have a store. You don't need to have a car. You don't need to have a secretary when you're starting. Start with what you have and have a vision of what you want to become. A vision is accomplished over time, not overnight. It's okay to start from home, okay? And as patronage increases for your product or service, you will eventually earn enough to rent a place and hire good hands. And as you grow, you are learning to understand and serve the market better. And you're also discovering better ways to navigate supply chains, to manage your team, and improve your operational processes. Now, by the time you're big, you will have acquired the competence and capacity to successfully sustain a bigger business, as well as other people's money, which will now be more easily attracted to you as debt or equity. Remember, a track record, no matter how small, attracts funding easily. When you start looking for funds before you start, it's more difficult. People find it more difficult to believe that you can make it. But start making it gradually, and then you'll find that people even want to support your or invest with you, even before you ask. So my final words will be that if you want to be successful in business, focus on delivering value. Be purpose-driven, which means be clear about the problem you want to solve or the need you want to meet. Do not start a business with the sole purpose of making money. Yes, we know you want to make money, but guess what? Value drives profit. You can only make good money when you're providing value. Once you deliver value, the money will come after you. The same way we all go to, nobody has to encourage us to buy data. Nobody has to encourage us to buy a mobile phone. We buy because we need it. Okay, so as long as the problem exists and you are solving it best, you will enjoy patronage. And the bigger picture is that Africa needs impact-driven entrepreneurs to accelerate its development by solving its problems and creating wealth simultaneously. Okay, note I'm talking about making money from making a difference, creating wealth from solving problems. This accelerates transformation. I hope you will join the League of Impact-Driven Entrepreneurs. Thank you.